Great. All right, so I'm getting my screen. Can folks see that board okay? The Euro board, get some nods. Okay, awesome, thank you. Well, I'll introduce myself again. I'm Mary Norton. I'm a landscape architect at Parks and Recreation at the City of St. Paul, and I am here today with Jeanette. Jeanette, do you want to say hello? She's helping take notes and facilitate some good conversation. Go ahead.
Excuse me, Jeanette Rebar with Public Works.
Great, thank you, Jeanette. So I'm excited here today. These exercises we have on screen are some quick icebreakers that we did as we spoke with our technical advisory groups and our design advisory groups, and it's just a nice way to facilitate conversation together and start thinking long term about Summit Avenue and how you use it now and how we could use it in the future. So with the first thing, if there's no wrong answers, if you just want to go ahead and throw out the first word that comes to mind when you picture the parkway, we'll capture it here on screen as you're having some conversation. And these are short, no wrong answers. Go ahead.
Biking.
Can you say that one more time? Sorry.
Biking, cycling.
Biking and cycling. All right.
Tree mansions.
Potholes.
Excellent.
Mansions.
Great.
8 to 80
8 to 80.
pedestrians, walkers.
Linear park.
Nice. Yeah.
Dirt running.
Dirt running.
Lovely Parkway.
She's saying it.
Historic context.
Awesome.
Street repair.
High taxes.
I'm sorry, can you say that one more time?
High taxes.
Taxes.
Safety. Wonderful way to walk.
Institutions.
There we go. Tree.
Families.
Good, we're filling it up. That's great.
Dirt biking.
Say that one more time.
Dirt biking.
Dirt biking. Cool.
Traffic.
Already improved.
Already improved.
Yeah, it's already been improved.
All right. Excellent.
Except for poor maintenance, it's already been improved.
Right. I mean, in terms of the bicyclists inside, the bicyclists have their own lane, is what I'm saying. Yes, I agree with that. I'm talking about a dedicated bike lanes already improved from previous.
All right. Any last call outs here to fill the board? If not, that's okay.
What's broken?
Sorry, say that one more time.
What's broken?
What's broken?
I got one. Maybe what's the empirical data that's driving the project?
Family friendly.
Parking that serves the housing on Summit.
Speeding.
Okay.
College parking.
Oh, say that one more time.
Colleges parking.
Colleges parking. Got it. right, I'll do one last call and then we'll head to the next one here. Even more than a week. I'm gonna add one here. Colleges parking. Okay, the next one I'm gonna have you all think about here. In 50 years, this parkway, and kind of finish that thought or thinking about that. Probably a lot of similar themes, but thinking a little more about kind of in time, how does this parkway want to look and function?
Should have no cars.
Last remaining green space.
Maintain what was from the 1800s.
Horse-drawn carriages.
No pollution.
Fewer trees.
Wider sidewalks,
Wider sidewalks. Okay.
wider shoveled sidewalks, shoveled by the funds, by the city funds, so that all can enjoy, and no free riding on residents.
Say that again. No free
Yeah,
what?
never mind. Yeah, that's
Free
all right.
riding. Okay.
Yeah, no free riding by residents for
Okay.
everybody walking, because they're free riding on the residents. Yeah.
Integrated with Grand Avenue.
Integrated with Grand Avenue.
It'd still be a pleasure to walk or bicycle on.
Okay.
Integrated with other regional trails too.
Integrated with other regional trails. Okay, and then I'll just do one last one. Then I'll get to our questions here. Make sure we have some time for Q&A.
Beautiful driving, a beautiful drive down Summit Avenue.
No way.
Beautiful drive down Summit Avenue. All right.
How about no integration with regional trails?
The counter to that one. One
Right.
integrated and one not integrated. Yeah.
Right.
Tree lined,
The tree line.
continue, yeah, in 100
Continue it.
years, I would hope it's still tree lined. At least the same amount of trees, if not more.
All right.
Ask the people in Cleveland.
Say that one more time. That's okay. I missed that one. I want to thank you. I think this is great. It just helps get obviously people think, sharing quickly. We know that there are many different ways again that we can approach this, and I want to make sure everyone has a chance to share. There's obviously a variety of interests and takeaways from this conversation that we'll talk about here today, but I'll touch the next question here. So highest priorities are the next one. This is a bit of a shout out type exercise again. And this is really just a prompt conversation for questions. Jeanette's going to be helping us take notes as we report back, but just want people to start sharing what their highest priorities are for the trail or for Summit Avenue, kind of where they see opportunities and drawbacks. That's open.
Maintain sidewalks and trees.
No loss of green space.
No loss of trees.
No loss of parking.
No loss of bike lane.
Safety for all users.
As a parent, my highest priority for the trail is a safe place for my kid to bike and walk.
A smooth bike road and walking trail.
Smooth bike road and walking trail. Okay.
Can I ask what's being done with this responses?
What's being done with it? So
Is it being recorded, or what's the purpose of this whole session?
Yeah, so this meeting, this is being recorded. So the purpose this is to have a public conversation about the master plan process, to hear again what people where they want to see change, where they don't want to see change in the context of the master plan. So this will be shared online as part of the meeting recording. So yeah, so it's a conversation with community members about in the context of this master plan.
Just seems like you've already made some design decisions and threw out some options, and that has gone on without much public input.
Sure, understood. So the input that we have gathered are similar to what we're hearing tonight. There's a tension between obviously green space, or an interest, I should say, in maintaining those green spaces, also with the need to increase safety and accessibility for all modes. So we're at a point in time where we're looking at these ideas for a separated trail facility and understanding how people see that playing out and what would be how those trail experiences could shape the public realm on Summit Avenue. So to that second point, Summit Avenue is frequently used now by peds, bicycles, and vehicles. I'd like to hear from folks in what ways, do they see the most opportunity in the corridor to enhance safety and accessibility for all modes?
Well, if you maintained what you have,
Yes.
like paving the roads better and sweeping them often, that would make them much safer. I'm just seeing this new trail as a solution looking for a problem. What I see is just we don't maintain what we have.
I would totally agree with that. I mean, if the
Yes.
bike paths were smooth and not dangerous, full of potholes, and same thing with the road, so cars aren't swerving to go around potholes, I think the safety issue would be much smaller, and I don't understand what we're trying to solve.
Yeah, are you
It's like
creating
we've done in
problems that we
other,
don't have?
just like we've done in other parts of the city, I would encourage separating bikes from vehicles. It's worked well on a bunch of other city streets, and it doesn't seem like there wouldn't be a reason why it wouldn't work here.
I think
What
we
is
have
the
to
data?
look at that carefully, because also there's different types of bike users, and they all need access to Summit. I would say one thing that hasn't been looked at is removing cars from Summit.
Yeah, that would also help with the wear and tear issue if we got like rid of cars, and especially like trucks, really anything that's like four wheels.
That
You
just
could
pushes the
really like
power
reduce
elsewhere.
wear and tear, and then it would cost less over time to maintain, and it'd be
Well, having-
safer.
But living on Summit, that's kind of an unrealistic approach. I mean, I live on Summit. How can I get to my place?
Totally unrealistic, right?
Can we
No,
please
it's
ask
easy
the
out.
It'd be
host-
radical.
Can we please ask the host, what is what's the data that's backing up to necessitate the plan? Is it considered, is there data to back up the idea that it is an unsafe corridor right now, or that we are beyond capacity for bikes or cars, or is there anything that we as the public can know that we are kind of basing this idea of a regional trail off of? Thank you.
Sure, yeah, no, great question. And of course, we certainly recognize that there's going to be push-pull in this conversation. So from a capacity perspective, so industry standards with MnDOT, FHWA, NACDO, places that would weigh in on how the volume. So the volume use of Summit for vehicles alone ranges between 3,900 average vehicles a day and 11,000 or above 11,000. Industry standards typically would recommend a separated facility when you get beyond 6,500 vehicles per day. So even taking the idea of a regional trail, a separated facility based on those standards or industry guidelines would recommend more separation. So that's what leads us to be thinking about separated trails. And that's consistent with how the bike plan at the city will also be rolling out ideas later this year through Public Works and the bike plan. But again, looking at roadway volume and looking to bring separated facility to that to increase safety in the conflicts of having high usage or high vehicle volume. So that's essentially where the starting point for a separated type facility is looking at vehicle volume.
Why wouldn't you separate it so you use those railroad tracks from the Ford plant to St. Paul? That would completely separate it and make it safe.
Thinking about a different route.
Yes, for the old railroad
Exactly.
track. For
Sure.
Yes.
So I understood, and we'll capture that in the notes too as interest, in looking at different routes as an interest for some on this call. I think what's important to recognize is that people are already using Summit for recreation and for biking. And when you have multiple intersections, conflict points, high volume of use, there's that, Alice kind of mentioned this early on, there's a bit of a responsibility to look at how those crossings function and where we can provide more comfortable access. And so that's what this conversation is doing, and that's what this master plan process is doing. And with that, I do want to move to talking to facility types itself, because we're talking a bit about, again, that Summit Avenue carrying high enough traffic volume to which industry practices would recommend a separated facility. So there's two types of facilities that we're looking at as potentially being applied to Summit. One would be a one-way style facility.
Over here.
Sorry, go ahead. Someone's on mute there.
No rush, or whenever you.
And then a two-way style. So again, each have benefits and drawbacks from a maintenance perspective as a regional facility. So one sort of benefit of being in that regional category would be to be able to maintain that year round. So right now, the roadway is cleared by Public Works, and regional trails, regional facilities are cleared by year round by parks. So that would be one scenario in which maintenance could be addressed. There's different ways we'd go about implementing this in the corridor and maintaining it. But generally speaking, the regional trails are maintained by parks. So a question here, just thinking about the different types of facilities, even thinking about these in other places of the city that you've used. Curious to hear feedback on your perspective for benefits and drawbacks on these types of facilities.
So Mary, has any thought been made to cyclists that would remain preferring to use the roadway when there's a separate facility, and how that would mesh with other traffic modes?
Yeah, good question. We hear that. We've heard that on other facilities when moved to kind of that separated facility, a desire to stay on the road, certainly. And we know cyclists will want to continue to use that road surface. And so I think that's certainly at play in the master plan context. Again, thinking about how it's used now for commuting, and then creating that space for other users in the roadway. So it wouldn't necessarily be that same bikeway, or I should say like a allocated space or striped space on the roadway. But we certainly know that cyclists are going to still use that treadway on the road, or some will that prefer to use that. And you see that on adjacent to other regional trails in the city. The roadway continues to be used.
You might see it, but is that legal then? If they've been given,
Yes, cyclists have total legality to use the road. Absolutely, cyclists are allowed.
Okay, even if there's a dedicated bikeway, like there's a dedicated lane for a car, and that's
absolutely, yes. Cyclists have the absolute rights and responsibilities.
The cyclists can do whatever they want. Got it.
Absolutely, yep.
Yeah, okay. Wow.
I find that the one thing I have about the two-way is I'm thinking about all the intersections you cross and taking a left-hand turn. And then along with that, I feel like who will get the precedence over parking on the right and left, because it's always the colleges that get that. And if you live by a college, you're going to probably lose your parking, but they're probably not going to lose theirs, even though they don't use it all year long.
Yeah, it's a good point. A different style of facility. They also, have different ways they approach intersections, obviously, and the counter traffic that comes with a two-way style facility versus one way is kind of moving with traffic. So yeah, very good point. Any other thoughts on other facilities or one-ways, two-way styles?
Hey,
benefits
Mary.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mary,
yeah,
you've got two people with their hands raised.
Oh, please. Thanks for calling that out, Jeanette. Yeah, let's see. Michael, go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Michael Gavin. I live on Summit. I was just curious, what is the width of this proposed trail? Is it going to take up the entire side of one way of street?
Yeah, so a two-way style facility, and again, it depends. When it gets to design and construction, there'd be nuances there, but a two-way style facility, we're looking at 12, anywhere from 10 to 12 feet. But one-way style.
So have you considered, so I know you were excluding the middle median, have you considered how many trees you would affect? I don't know, either depending on north or south boulevard whichever path you choose, have you considered how many trees you may affect?
So the current concepts are looking at using that same roadway footprint. So we aren't going through the medians. We're looking at that roadway edge, and so the same impact if we were to reconstruct curb to curb would exist. And so that's kind of, it would we would be minimizing that impact to trees by utilizing that paved footprint.
Can you guarantee
Sure.
there will be no trees eliminated due to the reconstruction?
Well, that's my
Yes.
point. You know, the root system can be 4 to 7 times
Right,
the top of the
right,
crown
yeah.
of a tree.
Exactly.
So there's no way you can guarantee if you don't, I don't know, expand past the boulevard. I don't know if you can guarantee that. Additionally, I think Marshall would be a much better corridor. It connects to the Lake Street Bridge.
They have to resurface the street. They're going
Right,
to
and then
have
also
the
you
same
also have
impact.
to level people's
That's right.
driveways.
Excuse
So I
me.
mean, I'm
It's
sorry.
gonna have the same impact on trees, you know, that plan, that simply resurfacing the street, which has to be done anyway.
So there's no
Right.
impact of trees there.
So when streets are reconstructed, there's always, regardless of a trail or no trail, whenever a street treadway is reconstructed, utilities go in, there's always that inherent risk in construction. It's just, it happens at the time of existing conditions. You look at the tree conditions at that edge. By working within that footprint that's already there, we know that we're going to be minimizing that impact as much as possible. So that's why that's the goal, is to really work within that paved surface.
Minimizing doesn't say that you're not going to affect trees.
But that's not because of the bike path. That's because
It's
they have to.
correct. It's roadway reconstruction based. And so again, anytime something is rebuilt in that roadway, there's always a risk there. There are a variety of factors at play with respect to tree health and condition, but by
But why do you
working
need to
within that
rebuild?
footprint, sorry, say that again.
Why do you need to rebuild?
The condition of the roadway
Irregardless.
itself. Yeah, so that the surface conditions that you see out there, potholes, paving, infrastructure needs to be modernized as in order to endure the travel.
But that's
And
like
so
a mill and overlay. You wouldn't necessarily widen the
Yeah.
street for a mill and overlay.
No,
it
and mill and
needs more
overlays are
than that.
temporary. Yeah, mill and overlays are a surface treatment. Full reconstruction would need to take that kind of cross section out, get utility work in, recompact the roadway, because otherwise
And you
mill and
say
overlay is
that-
temporary. Yeah.
Would the width of the road be different with the reconstruction? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily. So if we're working within that curb to curb, it's the
Right.
same, it's that same balance you're working at. It's just being the section of it is being rebuilt to endure.
But then I
longer-
don't understand how trees would be impacted there. It's just because you're going deeper. Is that what you're stating?
No,
on a
just that
reconstruction?
any kind of root system at that edge that exists. So trees are already, the canopy for it exists beyond that edge condition. And so when a curb is rebuilt, there's always there's potential for root cuts or things to happen on that curb edge. That's inherent for any reconstruction of a roadway. And we would want to obviously work within those same parameters, trail or no trail. That's always a balance that forestry does with construction projects and looking at trees in a roadway construction piece.
So we have a
Well,
2-minute.
maybe we need a smaller footprint because we need trees, and we really need to.
Can we get back to the question
things
here, number
differently.
3, that we're supposed to be answering?
Yeah, we've just got a minute or so left, and I know a couple of people had hands up. If we don't
I
get
have
to
one
you,
last question.
Hey, buddy.
oh, Mary, you're
Go ahead. Yep. So I know we have time for one more question.
Okay, so I have one more. I'm just curious.
You've
so
already
is
asked the question, though.
Yeah, there's.
Other people have questions and thoughts too.
Can I ask one question?
If it's the last question.
Go right ahead. Let's do one more. Let's go ahead, Michael. One last question.
Okay, so this proposed trail, is this less maintenance than maintaining the road for potholes?
We
still live in Minnesota.
Yeah, It would be maintained by Parks and Recreation. So it's maintenance of a trail facility in the same way we would elsewhere. So
Right, but would there be less potholes? Like, I'm just curious if this has anything to do with the judge, you know, saying that the city of St. Paul can't collect from homeowners who live on Summit because they've done literally nothing to maintain the road as it is. So like, why are they trying to get rid of one side of the street right now? Like, this makes no sense to me.
well, the trail is to create a safer, comfortable space for all users. And separate modes out further, so more proximity to cars. The roadway reconstruction piece itself is a part of maintenance and ongoing maintenance that all roads in the city that do. They either have mill and overlay, which is a surface treatment, or at some point in time they need to be reconstructed to minimize potholes.
But it would be
or longer term. So
conversely less than maintaining a public roadway.
it would be the same as maintaining that public roadway.